Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday morning live. Um, Today, I want to talk about two things, and I want to ask everyone. There's two things that eBay wants and eBay prioritizes. One is they prioritize new items. So when you list a new item on eBay, you get a bump in the search ranking. This is best match. Now, I believe that it has to be a unique new item, and it has to be both unique, which means has to be new pictures, new item, actually new item. And then it also has to be something that people want. So today I want to ask people in the group, what can you do to both be more consistent in listing more items, more new items, and then also how can you list better items? So I would say I'll start. What I can do to improve the better items is I could increase the number of places that I source locally. So I'm going to add a couple more places on my route to try to find better stuff because more exposure is better, more volume. You'll run into more home runs, the more stuff you look through. So I'm going to increase the number of places I look at. And then consistency wise, I think the best model on reselling for a person that's solo is 30 a day. You spend half the day doing 30, half the day finding 30. So for me personally, I think that with my schedule and the baby, for me to actually do that, I had to do it in the afternoon. So I think around 1 to 3 p.m. is going to be when I do my 30. Just working out my schedule because I want to be able to do it for a long time. And then eventually, if you do want help, then you need to be able to do it so well you can explain to somebody else to help you do it. So let's start with Marcus. How can you find better items to list or be more consistent? If you can chat. Let's see.
For me, what I've been doing is going to like the Goodwill bins. It's about 2 hours away. I'll go there once a week and grab as many items as I can. Generally, I'll get on a good day 80 worthy items. Sometimes, I find things that aren't necessarily worthy, but I do find a lot of like local to me brands that do well for me, like Wrangler uh, does pretty decent for me. But on the days that I don't go to the bins, I'll go to the local thrift stores around me. Uh, when I do, because they don't stock every day, or I'll go in there, clear them out, and then it'll take about a week for them to even get fully stocked up to have anything worthy of me grabbing again. So I'll go to the surrounding towns around me, um, 30 miles, 50 miles away, to that sort of thing to try and get my 19 a day.
How many stores are on your route?
So I don't necessarily have a consistent route in my town within 10, 15 minutes from me. There's only 5 thrift stores, period. So I'd have to travel either one direction. There's 3 thrift stores about 40 minutes away from me. And then the other way, about 50 minutes away from me, there's 2 thrift stores in that town. So since I live in rural Missouri, like the bottom of the state, there's nothing here, cornfields, literally. So I travel to St. Louis, where I'm from, where there's hundreds of thrift stores once a week. That just makes the most sense for me.
Okay. Vic, do you have feedback or a question?
Yeah. Like our friend that just said that I too live in middle of smaller towns, and I end up, like today I'm heading up to Jackson and for a doctor appointment, and I'll hit up a couple of little shops up there that I've been checking into. Or when I go down to Biloxi on the coast, I'll hit those down there. And I've also been, in regards to better items, been looking at like the Goodwill Select stores where they have the better items. And also, says I'm a really much smaller, so the volume isn't really what I'm doing right now. But I'm going through my death pile and picking out the best stuff, and then I'm gonna like bundle up the rest of it and sell it local or something.
Okay. Sounds good. So sounds like a lot of people have to travel to get good items, which makes sense. So Vic, what could you do to be more consistent, listing more items?
Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I need to get all of my draft bank built back up since I've been out on surgery. I used all that up. And I got a new telephone to get better pictures because I was having problems with my old one. So getting better equipment essentially, and getting more organized, clearing the clutter. I've been working on the looking in my local area for brands to build up my brand Rolodex in my head that Tech had explained to us in one of our other group meetings.
Okay, that's great. Let's go with Sally. Sally, can you chat?
Maybe.
What could you do to find better items or list more consistently?
Well, I drank the Kool-Aid, I guess, and have begun really trying to bank up my my bank. And so now that I'm up to where I've got a week's worth of bank at $5 a day, I go to 2 hours away about twice a month to a bin store. And then I pick one day a week and do local thrifting, which is a radius of about 20 miles. I'm going through a rather large death pile, and I have some really good things. So I'm trying to throttle back on sourcing right now and concentrate on doing a better job of accurate listing, going back and checking what I have to make sure it's good, and then moving forward with better quality descriptions and pricing.
All right. Thank you for sharing. Kim, do you want to chat?
Sure.
What are you working on? How do you list more items or list better items?
I need a photo bank because I spend a lot of time running different errands and picking up kids at school. And I find myself with 20, 30 minutes a couple times a day where I'm just sitting somewhere like at a doctor's appointment or wherever. If I had a photo bank, I could be just making drafts and listings a lot more, because photos are really the only part of it where I have to physically be home in one spot. So if I build a photo bank, then I can add more listings for sure.
Do you have any problem finding good items?
Now that I'm just looking for jewelry, it's been all right because I can kind of just have it delivered to me. But it's been kind of feast or famine. Like either I have a great week finding stuff and I'm getting 6 boxes of things come in, and then the next week I'm not winning any of the auctions. I'm not really finding the good stuff. So trying to stock up on it when I can, and then that way I have it to keep going every day.
All right. Let me know in the chat if people are in a rural area or an urban area. Like, how easy is it for you to get stuff? Let's see. If anybody wants to chat, raise your hand and I'll call on you, or otherwise I'm just going to go randomly. Lindsay, what can you do to list more items, or do you have a question?
No, I was actually just going to speak on finding items.
Mm-hmm.
I live in a suburb of Salt Lake City, and I kind of have the opposite problem of other people, where there's so many thrift stores and so many options. I live on like the south end of the valley, and I get caught like going to the same thrift stores all the time, where if I drove 20 more minutes, I might find something different brands or different selections. So sometimes I have to force myself out of my close to home comfort zone to find something different than I normally would. So
I love it. Lindsay, this is my Lindsay, right? I call you mine because we're from Utah.
Yes. Yes,
I
you're
love
Lindsay.
I love it. So fun fact for everyone, I'm class president of my high school. So next year we're doing our 20-year reunion. So I'm getting up there. So I'm excited to go back to Utah, and maybe I'll go thrifting with you.
Oh, that would be awesome.
But
I
you,
have like
yeah.
50 pounds to lose by next year though, so no
Oh wow.
rush.
No worries.
Oh,
I was
anyway.
gonna be really evil and secretly weigh everyone when they came to check in, and
Don't do
then
it. I won't come.
I'm not gonna do that. That's really rude.
Oh,
Because
no, I won't
that's
come.
like my because I have to send out the survey to see how like who wants to even come, and then people don't want to come. So I'll be
I know.
surprised if there's 25 people. It's gonna be small.
That's okay. We'll have a private party.
I really want to know what it's like to I've never thrifted in Utah, even though I'm from Utah.
You wouldn't believe, I mean, how much stuff there is. Like, you wouldn't believe, honestly.
Yeah, can't wait. I'll come back
It's
and visit
awesome.
you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Sally, feedback question.
I found by accident something I would have been reluctant to do maybe a year ago, but I went on our local Facebook group for local sales, and sure enough, there was a garage sale, and she had listed pictures. And I looked at the picture, and there was a group of wonderful, all brand new Nike shoes. So I just messaged her through Facebook and said, would you be interested in selling them all to me? And she said, sure. And I said, well, you open at 9 tomorrow morning, because I knew everybody would be on them. Could I come early? And she said, well, sure. So I arrived early and there were already people there. And she said, I told them they couldn't have any until you took what you wanted. I took all 17 pair and she was happy. And so it doesn't hurt to ask. And that way I'm finding I can kind of improve the quality instead of getting the leftovers. I can maybe sometimes have first pick.
Sorry, I love that. You should always ask, do you have anything else? And also, that's a lot more powerful if you've already bought something. So, I've had a lot of people saying, can I have all your good stuff? And they haven't shown any action yet towards the person. And of course, people want to sell it to you all in bulk because it's easier, but then you have to balance, do they trust you? Can they lose their job if they do that? You just have to be sensitive to figure out when you're asking for bulk, when is it the right time? And that does help you get better items. I know that, a lot of people today are talking about how they can find better items, but also remember consistent listing is the second part of today's conversation. So maybe we'll go with Brian. Brian, how can you list more consistently or find better items?
I don't know. I'm listing pretty consistently. Like I've gone to 7 days a week about a month ago from 5 days. I think that's helped me. It's just a habit at this point. So the only question is like, I just want to keep increasing the number. And as far as the better, it's pretty simple. You just got to source more. And you couple that with expanding your Rolodex, like becoming an expert in your niche, finding the gems that other people miss. Where if you're an everything seller, you're going to miss some things. Whereas if you focus on one niche, you're going to find things that the thrift store or people slip on. So developing those habits and increasing the Rolodex.
I think increasing your Rolodex comes just over time. It takes time to notice all these little things, what's worth a little bit more. Neon Monkey in the chat is saying Western style is hot right now. If you guys are in our group on Sunday, there's a bolo list of things that people post that sell for a lot of money. And you'll be surprised because even in your niche, you'll find stuff that sells for double, triple, quadruple what you thought it could sell for. So you just need to get out there. OJB's in the chat is saying you need to be reliable if you want to be a bulk buyer. I agree with that. I think if you're a bulk buyer also, you need to take some of their garbage because that helps them. You want to help the person buying for you or supplying you sell all of their things so that they only want to use you. So I do that from some of the people that I buy from. Some of the stuff is questionable, and I still buy it just so I can make sure I'm their largest buyer. You know, just to, they know too. They're sorting, so when they see that I find I'm taking some of their average stuff, I'm sure it makes them feel good too.
Yeah,
Josh
I
is
didn't want to
saying,
talk.
go ahead.
I just wanted to comment real quick that I know, especially for newer resellers, like, you know, you hear the conversation a lot with newer sellers, like, do you tell people at yard sales or whatever that you're a resale? I mean, yard sales don't matter as much if you're trying to work a bulk deal with somebody, but never be, you know, like try to hide the fact that, you know, a lot of times they'll respect it and like they're going to, you know, give you a better deal and kind of take you a little bit more serious. But I know a lot of people kind of feel like that, you know, it's funny to tell somebody, hey, I'm taking this to resell it, but it's better to just be honest. And, you know, when you go to the yard sale and they've got an eBay printout on it, you know, explain to them, like, I have to photograph this. I have to, you know, it's like, there's a lot that goes into it. And sometimes if you just, you know, actually let them know, I think it helps. But I know a lot of people are kind of scared to be open about that in the beginning.
Yeah, I think so. You let people know that you should say, I have an online store, or you could say I resell. But sometimes when you say you resell or you have an eBay store, people think you're homeless and unemployed. So you
I
need to
think
come
that
across like
it's the verbiage. I agree with that.
you have the
That's
right verbiage.
online
Because
store. That does
when I
sound better.
think when I think picker, I don't think somebody who has a listing habit and a route. I see somebody who goes
I
out and
think
looks for things that are valuable, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with being a picker. It's just the picker model is very different. And as you had touched on, I think yesterday, Landon, it can be exhausting listing different items every single time.
Yeah, when I think of a picker, I think of an old beat up pickup truck, stuff about to fall out the back. I mean, you know, a trash day when they come down your road, I'm like, oh, there's the picker, you know.
That's right. OJB's is saying it's a good tip to take their garbage. He buys old computers by the truckload, and you get more than you bargain for when you take everything. I 100% agree. I mean, that's on every single picker show. How much for all of it? And Sally talked about that earlier. It's that bundling tip, and it gets people excited and they get their whole day back. Like, you can buy a whole garage sale, no problem. People don't want to give up their Saturday to hang out there all day. You could buy the whole thing. Offer just has to be enough for them to give everything to you. Let's see. Who? Oh, this is Tom. Tom with the background of boxes that looks like mine. Can you chat? Hopefully he can chat. I see him coming.
Tom, you're on mute.
Yeah, hopefully he can chat. Still can't hear you. It's all good. Sorry to put you on the spot. I just
How about now?
yeah, sound great.
Yes, sir.
What can you do to list more items or better items?
Well, to list more items, the fact that I finally got my inventory in line,
Yep.
that right there has helped me to free up more time to not per se list more items, but to focus on listing better items.
Can you move to the left or right and then show us what you did? Because that's beautiful. There you go.
But yeah. Although I couldn't get the boxes that you bought all up, but I got the mixed size box. So the box size doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The shelf size doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But the whole chronological SKU system helps tremendously. So that's just that right there is probably just the biggest thing that helped me, was just to be able to find the item and have confidence that I have it in stock. And so, but as far as your question, as far as how to source more items or better items, I'm still in the same boat as everybody else, just daily out there with the grind. Sometimes whenever your face becomes familiar, people realize you do sell things, and that helps open up the door a little bit. But other than that, just daily grind, just trying to get it done.
I just wanted to say, actually, this morning while everybody was in the chat, you can just see everybody working. I actually used you as an example, Tom, to my wife. I was like, man, look at Look how nice this guy's set up here. I just wanted to give you that compliment, man. It looks good.
Looks awesome. And people were saying that that is those are the boxes that are sold out. And then I like that Tom pointed out that it doesn't matter what size boxes. And by the way, they're back in stock now if you guys want to go get them. I used a different company. I'm just gonna say it, packagingprice.com. This is so embarrassing for them. I ordered boxes on February 14th and they're still not here. February 14th. I ordered boxes from Uline. They came back in stock 2 days ago, and I got them yesterday. It came the next day. So even though Uline doesn't pay me, which is really sad, they are the best company. You get everything right away. It was not because of my YouTube channel that they sold out. I asked them. They're like, no, we have a supply chain problem. You are not important, and we will not sell out of boxes because of you. So yeah, they're a huge company. They sell millions of boxes. They
Can I
don't.
ask where Tom got his shelves real quick? It looks like the rolling shelves. They've got those at Sam's Club that I've been trying to catch for like 2 months. They've been sold out. Even if you go to the comments, the product comments, like all the comments are like waiting for these to restock, should have bought more. So I don't know how quick I'm going to catch those, but they're from where I do art in the garage as well. I would love to be able to move around my inventory, open up a wall where if I was like doing a painting or something, that would be crazy. And it looked like, if I'm not wrong, Tom, are those on wheels? Where did you get those metal racks? Menards. I don't think we have.
Yeah, they're on casters. They're on wheels. So that just kind of makes it a little bit easier for if I have to redesign the layout, or if I just need to do a good spring cleaning and get all the dust bunnies from up under there, whatever.
I love it. The dust bunnies, they can add up. And then that is why we wear masks at work. It's so dusty. So I need to figure out a better way to. I guess I just need. What is there? A version of the shop vac that's, I don't know, like wet? Is there like a wet vac? How do you get rid of dust?
No, but that was cool with Tom.
Mandy, do you want to chat?
I just burn it.
No, I just said it was so cool. He just pulled it out and turned it around. I said,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I need. I like that.
You got to make
What
sure
size
that
are those racks? Did he say what size they were?
they look like they're 4 feet wide.
Thank you.
But they be careful when you don't buy cheap shelves with casters, because then you'll die when it falls on you. So just get good. Just buy the best shelves you can, especially that is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20. That is like 700 pounds easily, one of those shelves. So don't do that. Get the good ones. You can add caster wheels to any wire shelf, but some of them should be like Jeff Ludden in the group, where they're actually affixed to the wall, because they're so freaking heavy. Just be careful. And somebody built some shelves out of cinder blocks in the group, and that was terrifying. Please do not do that. Like, I feel like if a cinder block fell on you, that might be it. That's not good. So someone had asked about Matt, part-time picker. Let's see. Question was, Matt does well, or do I think his main income is now YouTube? Nope. Matt does well reselling, and he does well on YouTube. So I decided to change. I'll show everybody the calculator, because I changed it because I got tired of people saying that I don't like everything stores. I prefer you don't have an everything store, but I redid the math. So even if you have an everything store, I just changed it. So here, let me explain this. This calculator is in the mentorship, by the way. Okay. So you're an everything store, everything income. I still think you should try to make $60,000 a year. So part-time picker and Osborne to thrift, they easily do this, even though they're everything sellers. So what happens is you need to be able to find 6 items per hour when you're an everything seller. It's easier actually for some people to find 6 items per hour, depending on what kind of stores they have. If you have a big store and you have a niche, it's easier. If your store only is really small and you live in a rural area, maybe you have to pick everything. So you still need to be able to find 6 per hour. That's 20 hours a week. So that's half of your week is looking for things. If you have an inventory system like Tom showed, picking items is really fast. I'm giving everybody 2 minutes to pack the item, which is a lot. That's very conservative. I think you should be able to do that. Let's try to keep prepping to half a minute per item. So that's 15 minutes for every 30 items. Then I'm giving you guys 3 minutes to price the item, which everyone should be able to do that in the group. How to figure out what it's worth, 3 minutes. That's a long time. That's actually the longest of everything. Then photographing 2 minutes, listing 2 minutes, putting it away all at one time, customer service. That's 20 hours a week doing it, looking for stuff, putting everything away, and 20 hours a week looking for it. 40 hours a week, 60K a year. And I made a video about this today. There are some rules that you have to be able to do in order to actually resell. So you have to know how to find the items in your area. You have to know whether or not they sell fast. You have to know why items don't sell. You have to be able to find 6 items per hour. You have to be able to afford 1,500 items, which is in this this example. You need 1,500 items to make 60K. And you don't need any money. You could do consignment if you're willing to put up with the headache. So consignment requires no money, but it's a lot of work. And if you're lazy and you get a bigger budget, $15,000, it's much easier to spend 10 to make 10 than to spend 0 on consignment and make 10. It's more hassle. Then you have to have a consistent listing habit. And then you need to be able to process an item in 10 minutes. That's it. So if you can do these 7 things and you have this calculator, you can make a full-time income in 40 hours. So if any of those are not true and you can't do one of those things, then you will not be able to make a full-time living. So Taco is asking what the 2 things that eBay wants. eBay wants unique quality listings daily, and they want consistent listing. So that being said, somebody will bring up, what about replenishable sellers? It's the same, okay, with the replenishable seller. It's just that you have one super high quality item that does well, but you would be more successful as a replenishable seller if you uploaded 30 of those per month, 1 per day. That's like very, very, very challenging. You would need a team in order to list 1 good item a day. This is a little bit different. So Jace GB is asking, if you're starting with an everything store, everyone starts with an everything store. Would you list several of each type in a row? So how I would do it is I would not sort. I would get all your items, put them next to you, and just list them all in a row. Photograph all of them in a row, list all of them in a row. Spending time sorting is going to slow you down. Notice in my calculator, I didn't put sorting as a category. It's not a category. And Industrial Crow is saying eBay wants your money. I know eBay wants your money, but the only way they can get money is if you list more items and then you actually sell them. Those are the 2 ways eBay gets more money. And they can increase the fees too. So those are the 3 ways that eBay can earn money. More things sell, they can charge more fees. Higher dollar amount things they can make more money on too. So I love this. Where pigs fly farm. They have an everything store. They go to a live auction every Friday. They spend 4 to 6 hours there, $200 to $500, and they have an overstock of inventory. Yep. So if you're going to do the everything model, that's fine. You can still make 60K a year easily, full time, even if every single item is random. Okay. So I said it. You can be a niche seller and you can make hundreds of dollars an hour, or you can be an everything seller and then on the low end still make $30 an hour. Zahir, what's up? Zahir is one of my favorite self-aware YouTubers, so everyone follow him. I loved my conversation with him last year, and hopefully he's doing well with his brick and mortar. Hopefully we can catch up. And I love the UK so much. I want to visit again. I've been twice and it's a blast. Industrial Crow is asking if inflation is causing less sales. Okay, you guys ready for it? I have a hot take. I think that the resale market is going to grow a lot because it hasn't caught up yet. Because all these prices have suddenly spiked, but not resale pricing at all. Hasn't spiked yet, at least not for me. So I think what's going to happen is new goods are going to become so expensive that used goods will increase in value. It just hasn't happened in every category yet, but I think it will. So I'm just waiting. I'm just trying to acquire as much inventory as I can right now because I imagine it will get harder and harder to find stuff in the future. So everyone, I think reselling is going to be better in the future, even though fees are going to be higher, rent is going to be more. You just have to be really on it because one thing I thought was cool, I was just watching Graham Stephan on YouTube, and he was saying his coffee company is no longer profitable because the cost of coffee went up, the cost of storage went up. That's what happens when you sell brand new items, though. If you sell pre-owned items, it's possible you can have your cost of goods be the same or go down. But on new, I would be so scared right now to launch a physical product because imagine you set everything up and 6 months later, everything doubles. You're totally screwed. It's not like that with used though. Usually things don't double.
They're actually talking about I was reading an article the other day. I mean, I don't know how creditable it is, but they were talking about used clothing doubling by 2030.
I can see it.
Secondhand fashion, it will be, and it was written this year. So
yeah.
And I believe it as well.
So my 2009 Prius, my Mr. Reliable Mojito, crapped out and needs a new transmission. So this is crazy. One, a 63,000 mile Prius having a transmission fail is unbelievable, but it's going to be cheaper for me to fix it, which is $6,000, and then resell it, and then just throw the car away, which is my original plan. And used car prices are up 30-40%. So are new cars. So we're in this weird situation now where there's not enough stuff. By the way, this is like a video game right now because I'm watching the chat in the group and the chat on YouTube. It's pretty fun. Let's go with Jeremy. Jeremy, can you chat? I haven't heard from you.
Yeah, sure can.
What's
How
up?
are you guys?
How can you
New
list
to the
more
group.
items or be more consistent?
List more items and be more consistent. I'm just had a life change, so need to ramp it up. And so looking forward to the group and all of the inspiration and the challenges. So ready to get after it.
So does your life change require you to list more, or what is the result of that?
Yes, definitely. This is now my full-time job. I was a full-time educator. So out of education now into full-time reselling. My wife's been doing it on and off for a number of years, but really got in tune with what you were saying on your YouTube channel, then became a subscriber. And then life kind of happened, and then this is where we're at. So this is full-time for us. So we're definitely having to ramp up our listings and our quality of listings to get to where we need to be. The nut for us every year is 60 plus. So I know that we got to grow into that. It's not going to be there right away. But thank the good Lord, we've got, the ability to ease into it a little bit, but not for very long. So yeah, that's where we're at. So this daily call and the accountability piece is going to be huge.
I love it. Corey in the chat is saying that shipping is a nightmare on an everything store. That is true. When I did the Whatnot auction, somebody bought a skateboard and a pair of sneakers. That is a really fun Frankenbox that went into. So it's difficult. You have to have one of every kind of box or a bunch of boxes that you can cut up and make into whatever size that you need. And that takes a long time. So it normally takes me 20 minutes to ship 40 items or 30 minutes to ship 40 items. And it took me 2 hours to ship 44 items because I didn't have any of the things set up. So it took me about 2 minutes to make the box and then properly put dunnage in it so the shoes didn't get damaged. And then also the $1,000 pair of shoes, I spent a little bit more time packaging. So it's almost like I'd rather sell cheaper items because they're less, like, people don't get mad, versus like something really expensive better come perfectly. Even though I bought a MacBook and it came in a poly mailer. That's crazy to me. But I know why, because Apple knows it's fast to ship in a poly mailer versus a box. They just put it in a really good sleeve. Ashley is saying pre-owned stuff is becoming more cool. I agree with that. I hate pretty much everything on Amazon right now. It's cheap and it's disposable. But like, I want the old American. What's that company in Detroit? I forgot what it's called. It's like U.S. made goods. But I love U.S. made goods. This is the problem is that they're so freaking expensive. But I think it needs to move that direction again, where we have really high quality new things and people just need to pay up because all stuff from Amazon sucks. Yeah, Vlad saying congregated boxes from Uline solves that problem. Absolutely. You can order boxes that can be reshaped and resized, and that will solve that problem. And if you sell a particular item, it will probably save you money if you order boxes versus cut down the free boxes from Priority Mail. And plus, Priority Mail is never the cheapest way to ship something usually. So use your own brown boxes. Let's see. Vintage UK stuff sells well in the US. Vintage anything sells well somewhere. You just have to know who the market is. And if the item is cool, it will sell well. Nothing wrong with everything stores. It's just more work. Carhartt is awesome. It's not the brand I was thinking of, but it's I wonder how much Carhartt stuff actually is made here. Some of it.
A lot of the Carhartt stuff is sourced from the U.S., but a lot of it's manufactured in Mexico.
Yep, I love it, Mandy.
Yeah, about listing more, I've learned that I've had to start planning, for today, but plan, and not for this week. I need to plan for the next week and the next week. So do I have enough bulk mailers? Do I have enough boxes? Like Kim said, does she have any shipments coming in when you have bulk? Like today has already been planned weeks ago. If you don't, so if you do get sick, it doesn't matter. You have stuff in your pipeline. Does that make sense? Like everything is still ready to go.
I agree with that.
I think when I was an everything seller, I would just go around and just shop for something and then go home and start listing. But now I'm like real purposeful of what's my outlook and my forecast for the next few weeks to a month. And I'd really like to get further out, but I haven't got there yet.
Yeah, let me see. Okay, let's look at this. Let's look at Lavender Clothesline. She just posted this on her Instagram. I look at this, right? This would take a really long time. So kudos to her, but I don't want to be this type of reseller because it's a lot. Like you have to test these electronics, you have to clean these shoes, hats. She probably, because she's an everything seller, she probably has a mannequin that she can put these on to make these look nice. But this would take a long time for me to process, and it would give me a headache, and I would have my blood pressure would go up. I don't want to do that. It's too hard. I want to do something that's all the same. But kudos to her. She wants to do it that way. There's nothing wrong with doing it that way. It's just a different type of reseller. You know, it takes long because it's hard to develop momentum when you have to list a receiver. So a receiver, honestly, I don't even know how to test it. You'd have to have the right input output to see if it works or not, to test every button. I don't know if I want to do that. And then the shoes are great if you have a system for cleaning them. But otherwise it can be difficult.
Yeah, and you can't store the hats with the amplifier. You know,
you can't store the hats with the amplifier.
Me and JD and a couple of us were talking to chat. You know, he had talked about, he had just passed a 5-disc CD changer. We were talking to somebody about just trying to niche down. And I had just recently, like 2 days prior to that, passed the same object. I think it's funny, I call them like a shiny objects. And I think there's a couple of them from each different niche, you know, and then for the electronic niche, you got the VCR. You know, people are like, what? This guy sold a VCR for $100. Next thing you know, they're spending a week looking for a VCR. but and then they realize when they have 5 VCRs at home, and right now you got to get tapes to test them, and I think if you're going to do that, honestly, I'd just sell them, for parts. I mean, some electronics do actually sell just for parts, but yeah, not my game.
Yeah, everything sells, which is a great point. We're just trying to make this easier so that you can, the more specific your business is, the harder it is to replicate, harder it is to build momentum. I've known Lavender Clothesline for years. She has an organized system to keep track of all of it, and she enjoys it. And that's fine. If you wanted to go that way, I wanted to make my system usable for any type of seller.
Yeah, I was thinking after the call yesterday, after we talked about the doctors and stuff, just being a specialist, I was really thinking, how many stores in my town? I'm in a pretty lively city. How many stores are everything stores? And like, really? I mean, Walmart, Dollar Tree,
yeah.
Other than that, I mean, every store in between those are specialty stores. It's a music store. It's a restaurant for Mexican food or Chinese food, American. It's like, yeah, I mean, 95% of the stores are, specialty stores.
Absolutely. Well, I think of like Cheesecake Factory. They have like every single possible thing on their menu. And I think to myself, how does that work? I don't know how that company works. How do you like inventory 600 different types of food in your fridges and chefs, and how do they do that? That's amazing. You can be in anything. It's just more difficult.
Also good.
I was just
Go ahead, Thomas.
Cut the menu down.
Go ahead, Thomas.
The craziest thing about Cheesecake Factory is it's actually good.
Yeah, it's actually good. I don't know how they do that.
Makes no sense.
It doesn't make sense mathematically because no other restaurant can do that.
Okay, I need to chime in here about the Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah.
The Cheesecake Factory in Birmingham is notorious for being crap. The service sucks. It takes. I was at a function the other day, and it's funny. Somebody just came from the Cheesecake Factory, and they were like, "Yeah, we just came from the Cheesecake Factory." And it was like, "Yeah, what's that all about?" And they were like, "Well, it took us 2 hours to get our food, and the service really sucked, and the menu was like reading a book." And then other people started chiming in. And I was listening. I was like, "This is so funny because we talk about the Cheesecake Factory and being duplicatable or not. More complicated it is, the less efficient it is." And I've got another comment. My son's girlfriend worked there for 3 weeks, and she said it sucked so bad she cried and just left after 3 weeks because they kept overworking her because people kept calling in. So there's Cheesecake Factory is not necessarily consistent in every city. You guys might have a great Cheesecake Factory, but this one has got a bad reputation.
Yeah, you would think that they just serve dessert, but nope. I think they have tacos and pizza and pasta. So I don't know how they do that. It really is amazing. So I'm not sure, somebody's disagreeing with me when it comes to everything stores, but let's just do the basic math. If you have 2 units of energy and you put them into one thing, it'll be twice as good as putting 1 unit of energy into 2 things, just math. So I understand some people in their areas, they can only find whatever they find. That's why I changed the calculator. So when you look at it, you could list blender, bread maker, DVD recorder, hat, banana, and still do it. Doesn't matter. As long as you have systems set up, you can be an everything seller. Perfectly fine.
Hey, Chris, you know everybody in every world, including Kylie Jenner's marketing agent.
Yep.
Do you know anybody who works at Cheesecake Factory?
I don't. I have no idea how they do it.
Why not?
I would love to go in there and look at their fridges and like, how do you?
Supposedly they do it from scratch.
I have no idea how they do
General
it.
manager.
I used to work there.
Wait. Who used to work there?
Jen Maxwell. I used to work there.
Okay, what is it like?
It's amazing. An incredible cooking staff.
We need more, Jen.
They're beautiful. Sorry. It's amazing. And it's
okay, but So how
And
do
then-
they organize everything
Oh,
on, I guess, the most molecular level?
How many
so that the
chefs and
food is
process.
actually
chefs?
good and
There's
organized?
no other way to do it than the Cheesecake Factory's way to do it, and that includes the chefs, how they saute onions to the sequence with which they put stuff into the mixes. I mean, it's very procedural, at a higher level. I mean, I want to say at a higher level than even McDonald's, but McDonald's is pretty procedural, but it's a lot
Okay.
simpler too.
Okay, Jen, question
Yeah.
time.
Mhm.
Do they have chefs doing everything, or do they have one chef that does the vegetables? And then do they have one
yes.
chef that
Yeah, they have
just
one
does
chef that,
the
well,
cheesecake?
they have clear lines of delineation, and I can't remember, like, but there's a dessert chef. That's all they do is desserts. They don't help anybody with the fish. They have the grill chefs. There were 2 or 3 on staff when I was working there. I don't know how many they have now. And all they did was meat. And if there's sauces on those meat, there's a chef that works next to them that does the sauces. Then there's the salad chef, Gunga Din, and then there's and then there's the sides. The sides was kind of weird because I could never figure out which person, because I think there was only one person that did the sides, and that was be things like not grilled stuff, like your baked potatoes, your bread, that kind of stuff.
You know
Okay.
what's so one
And
more
then-
thought on that, and then we oh, go ahead, Thomas.
So when it comes to all the raw ingredients, is everything pre-made? Like, does it come from a central hub? Kind of
No.
like, let's say, no, everything is prepared there. Like the
Yeah,
raw ingredients are. There's not like
yeah.
sauces brought in pre-made.
No.
I
No.
find this hilarious. I was just doing some research on Cheesecake Factory as we were talking. The
It's
only
amazing.
thing that's pre-made is the cheesecake.
You
That
know
is
what?
that
That's
is
true.
hilarious.
That's
That is
true.
hilarious.
That's true. That's
Everything
true.
else they make, all the cheesecake is made in California and sent out
Yeah.
to everyone. For some reason, everything else is made from scratch. That doesn't.
Ironic.
That is something.
That is sweet
My-
irony right there.
My last comment is whoever said we're getting in the weeds with Cheesecake Factory, that's kind of the point of this whole call. This was the best part of the whole call so far.
No, it's
Hey.
it just yeah, you can it's essentially what you are when you're an everything seller is you are a cheesecake factory. So you could do it. There's plenty of people who do it. It's difficult because unfortunately you don't have somebody on your team usually that does only VCRs and someone that only does clothing. You have to do all of it. So it just requires a couple different photo setups, a couple different storage setups. That's it. It's not too complicated. You need it's just the Cheesecake Factory is actually on point for this conversation because somehow they have 100 things on their menu.
Hey, Chris,
Yeah.
that's maybe an idea for a conference. Instead of getting together and everybody listing, we get together and do a factory tour of a couple of different places and maybe a motivational speaker or something. Would be kind of a really cool conference where everybody gets to get together and gets a chance to meet, but also we just do like a factory tour or something and kind of throw out ideas and kind of come up with new stuff that maybe people could implement in their businesses.
Absolutely. So if you look at, let's look at this real quick. If you look at what a Cheesecake Factory looks like, right? So you see this? This is an everything store except for it's all you. Right? Because there's look at all these different things that people are doing in the kitchen. This looks insane. So you have this, right? But then if you look at a McDonald's, which McDonald's is just people microwaving food. There is no from scratch. Every single thing is processed. It's just A, B, C, D, serve. A, B, C, D, E, serve. There's no I can't believe if this is what it looks like. That is intense. That is really intense.
Like,
Is that what it looks like?
Yeah. The one that I used to work at was out in Mesa. And it was
Wow.
pretty busy, and the kitchen is fully staffed, fully stocked, and we never ran out of anything. You know, like I've worked in so many restaurants in my life. I've had a lot of jobs, but restaurants in my early life, was pretty much how I put myself through school. And none of them were anywhere near this level. None of them. Even some of the high end kitchens. I mean, when I'm thinking of some of the places in Boston that I used to work at, I was like, I got to the Cheesecake Factory. I'm like, Cheesecake Factory blows them away in terms of process.
Yeah, it's amazing. I guess if you want to be that,
I had
go for it.
I had the nightmare last night that I wasn't getting out enough garlic breads because I've done food service for 30 years. It's funny that this is coming up right now. But I think as resellers, it's like you're an everything seller at some point, no matter what, when you start, or you niche down all the way like Dr. Bricks, right? Or the card sellers.
Yeah.
But in between, we all become, just like in a kitchen, some people can be the saucier and the pantry chef. Few people can do it all. So at some point you niche down and you choose the 2 or 3, the grill or the sauces that you're good at. But I think it's unfair to look online because a lot of that, you don't see the secondary income that people are using. You don't see that. If you watch enough, you do know. Osborne the Thrift grew up in a thrift store with his parents. So he got that knowledge. It's like a second generation chef almost, right? He got the knowledge of all the things that he can buy because he grew up in a thrift store around his family. So just like Tech said in his call, if you don't spend time doing it, you're not going to get good at it. So if you spend more time doing more things, you're going to be a jack of all trade, master of none. But we all eventually are able to do 3 of the stations as resellers, right?
Can I tell you the bottom line though about the Cheesecake Factory is
Please.
that the tips were amazing, and they were amazing because of that kitchen. So there was a financial ramification to having such awesome process.
It's a very bizarre situation. So Space Bears is saying he'd rather sell a $500 Ladro piece than a $30 shirt. Well, I'd rather make $1 million than $100,000. So you can't make $1 million a year trying to be an everything seller, because that's why it doesn't matter, because some people's goals are to make 50,000 or 100,000 a year. Eve is asking if you should use Hammock or Sellhound. Neither. You should do your own, because if you do if you end up using somebody else to do your listings, you're outsourcing the most important part, and they are generalists, because you have to be when you help people list, and you have to be a specialist. So for example, Space Bears is saying he's an everything store, but he's very specific on what he buys. So he's kind of still a specialist, even though he's a generalist. So he still picks certain things to do, because Space Bears wouldn't sell clothing because he's saying it's a waste of time for him. So a locksmith wouldn't do plumbing on the side, usually not. So it just depends on what you do.
What if you use them both at the same time? You take one to cross check the other one.
That's true.
Works so good.
Let's see. Mark is saying big box. Yeah, the prices of boxes has gone up pretty significantly. Let's see. Craigslist Hunter makes $1 million a year and he lists everything. Craigslist Hunter also has a team. You can make $1 million by yourself if you specialize, but Craigslist Hunter is fine. I don't understand why people think that I'm talking bad on everything stores. I don't care. I'm just saying it's easier if you sell only one thing. I'm not saying that, and I don't think you can make an argument that it's easier to sell everything. How is that possible? It's not easier. There's a way to do it, but it's not easier. The easiest is to sell the same thing over and over again. So Industrial Crow saying boxes are free in the dumpsters. Here it's illegal to dumpster dive, but I know some places it's not. I don't know your different local municipality rules, but be careful when you're dumpster diving.
How much time do you think people spend? Like, how much time is spent / wasted going into a dumpster to find a box so that you can go pack your eBay item?
People will spend $10 in gas to save $1 on the box, I guess.
Like, but
and the
when it
time.
comes to time, like, what if you go to 3 dumpsters and you spend like 15 minutes per dumpster? Like,
well, I mean,
one
hopefully,
item.
if you're gonna do that, you get a ton of boxes so that you can use them for the future. You wouldn't go to the dumpster to get one box; you would get a bunch.
right? Or you do that in your first month of reselling.
Yeah. Or
Then
you
you-
call somebody who's moving, or you go to a moving or a garage sale and you get free bubble wrap and that's fine. Everyone does that in the beginning. It's just that shouldn't be part of your business process if you're a real company.
That's what I'm saying.
Hey, Chris, I
Like-
have a question for you, please.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a neighbor that she's moving back to Japan. Her husband passed away, and she wants to get rid of some knickknacks and some, like type of antique stuff from Japan. I'm afraid to buy it from her, and she asked me to post them online. I know I don't want to start messing up with my eBay store. I just start again selling. I list now 5 a day, every day, and at least I sell one item. So I'm very much happy with whatever I'm getting right now. I'm trying to organize my basement, follow the steps. Anyway, what do you suggest? Should I buy them? I'm afraid to buy them, then they're gonna be collecting cobwebs in my basement.
Hell no, you should not buy them. So
Yeah, thank
the way I look at it is this is the greatest time-saving thing ever, which is the phrase, I'm not set up for that.
All right.
So if you say that,
Yeah.
most people be like, oh, okay. It also makes you sound like a pro. Like, I appreciate that you want me to sell your furniture, but I'm not set up for that. I can only sell certain things in my store because we don't have the right things to do that. And it's hard though, because it's either free or consignment. When you sell things for other people, you don't have to buy it from them. You could do consignment, or they could just give it to you for free. And that's something you have to deal, especially with a friend. It's difficult because I hear this all the time. I'm just trying to get rid of it. And you're like, okay, well then just give it to me. Oh no, but I actually want $100 for it.
Here
Then
we
you're
go.
not trying to get rid of it. You want
Right.
some of the money.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work.
Yeah. And I don't want to
Like-
mess up my store, right? You say,
Yeah, you don't want to mess up your store. You don't want to mess up your friendship. You have to handle the return. You have to pay the tax on it.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
I-
They want to return the item. Then when do you pay? If you have 60-day returns, well, you tell your friend, well, I can pay you in 60 days.
There we go. Yeah.
You know,
I'm not ready to do that.
Yeah, the best thing you can do if you want to help your friend is buy it from them and then just list it cheap. That if you're trying to just help them get extra cash,
Yeah.
that's how I would do it.
And give her $5 a piece, you think?
No, whatever you think it's worth. Don't buy it if you don't know what it's worth.
I don't know what it's worth. It's
Yeah,
just,
then
too
just
many
pass.
stuff from it's
Just pass.
very it's time consuming for me, and it's not my niche. I don't like this. I like clothing, whatever, like you say. I'm gonna pass it here. All right. Thank you very much.
Yep. Somebody's asking for a good source for packing materials. I use American Bubble Boy now. They gave me an affiliate code, Daily Refinement. It comes in like 1 or 2 days. Pretty awesome. And it comes with just a bubble wrap with a shipping label on it. It's really cool. I like that company a lot.
It's high quality too. I mean, I bought it from them as well. I really enjoy it. Probably some of my favorite bubble wrap.
Thank you to Amy in the chat for saying she does toys and clothes, but it would be easier to just pick one. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It's easier to just pick one. I'm not saying it's more profitable. I'm not saying your store is a dumpster fire. I am not saying that. I'm just saying it's easier to pick one niche versus two. That's all. This is a good tip, I think. Not sure if it's vintage, just saying Dollar Tree has boxes that their balloons come in there at the door. I think you could probably ask Dollar Tree or Dollar Store for their boxes. I think they would give them to you because it's like not as intimidating as a Walmart or Target, because the Dollar Trees here are much smaller. They're like 10,000 square feet. So you could go in and talk to somebody and say, can I have some boxes?
They told me no. They were like, no,
really?
you gotta send them. Yeah, they said no. They gotta send them to their they send them to a place basically, and I guess they like repurpose them.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. I asked Dollar General. They had a whole bunch of boxes in those little metal things, and they're like, I was like, hey, can I get some of these? And they're like, no.
Hey, the Dollar General where I live, they literally have the boxes stacked up on racks out behind their store.
Yeah.
And you can go just get as many boxes as you want because
I see. When I sold a painting one time, and I went to Mike, or was it Michael's?
Allows you to, they'll give you boxes.
Who? Jen, what company?
Yeah, TJ Maxx will give
Oh,
you
TJ
boxes
Maxx.
because they told me, the manager told me that they don't want to break them down. It takes their staff time to break them down. The
Yeah.
only catch is that if they do hold by that day.
I see. So a lot of people get boxes at Dollar General, Family Dollar. That's awesome.
I got all mine from Walmart. Like in Walmart, when they're breaking them down at night, they will let you take them.
Oh,
That's great. I was just saying that I got a golf bag box from a golf store, and I got a painting box from Michael's. A lot of places that sell whatever it is that you sold, they will have the box. When I sold that bike, I took it to the bike shop. They charged me 50. What's it called? I think they charged me $55 to pack the item, and they guaranteed it would arrive perfectly, which is cool. The local bike shop here was like, we can pack a box and we can pack a bike in 5 minutes, and then we'll get there securely. So that's what I did. So that was what I was thinking. Like maybe, I'm not doing bikes anymore, but it's the most tempting thing at the swap meet because they have $700,000, $800,000, $900,000 bikes right when you walk in, and they're all like $50 to $150. So it's like I can make $500 and I don't even have to ship it. All I have to do is just take a picture of it, drop it off at the bike shop, and I'm done. But it's not that easy because if any of the components are not working, then it gets returned, and now you have double expensive returns. And
when you were talking to Tech about that, and he asked you what would you sell if you were selling, what's the one thing that you have a hard time giving up? And you said bikes, and then you started talking about bikes, and even your voice just kind of lit up.
I love bikes. They're so cool. And the part that sucks is I have to walk past that stall every Sunday. So I just see all of them there, and they don't, some of them are questionable. Like, are they stolen? I don't know where these bikes come from. So there's also dealing with that, but it's like, I walk by that guy and he has new bikes every single week somehow. And I just think
that's so funny.
Yeah.
It's I was listening to one of Tech's playbacks on one of his calls, and he kept referencing you could buy a used bike and sell it, and it would take you so long versus you could just list so many. So now I know where that I was thinking, who sells a used bike on eBay and tries to ship it? So now I know where that came from. It came from you.
Yeah. So unfortunately, right now, TNT Auction is asking who sources my items. I source all my items, unfortunately. I don't know how to outsource that. So Tech and I were talking yesterday about doing a passive eBay store. It's very difficult because you'd have to get somebody to buy the items for you, somebody to list the items, photograph, ship the items for you, somebody to do all the customer service. That's really hard. And Thomas is saying, I know everybody in the eBay world. I don't know anybody that has a passive income eBay store. You'd think you could. Like, how come no one has had it? Why is there no stores that run themselves? Like, oh, I have an eBay store down the street. It runs itself. I go down there and pick up the check every Friday. I don't know who has that. Yeah, you can buy bikes. You can buy anything by the truckload. I don't have any bulk buying right now. I still buy them one at a time. It takes a long time. It's the part of my eBay business that I always have to do, I think.
Chris, can I? Is it too late for me to go into how I can source better as far as higher ASP, better quality?
Go
stuff?
for it.
Okay.
We'll end with you, Paul. Thank you.
All right, cool. So it's kind of funny that you guys are talking about this because I was listening to one of the first Tech Talks, you and Tech, and you guys were talking about a 30 to 50 ASP. You go and you handpick everything, and Tech was talking about how great that model was and how he kind of thinks about going back to it sometimes. And so I was looking at my average sale price and my average profit, and I was thinking, man, for hand picking stuff, this is just too low. And so today I'm going to start going. I'm going to go instead of once a week. I got into a routine where I was going once a week to like two stores, but that only got a certain amount or a certain quality product to list from there. So now what I did last night is I went out to the store and I found 12 items, and they're all between 30 to like $60 items. I mean, I found a couple pairs of designer jeans, and so I mean, I was saying, so then I looked at my time. So how long did it take me to find that? But if I did the half a day thing where I go for 4 hours and I look for just nothing but hitters, nothing but killers, instead of going and getting the bread and butter stuff, and I can come back, and I've got my processes down now so that I can do 20 a day, in half a day. Then I'll do better. My sell-through rate would be better, and also my average profit per item would be better too. So I do like that idea. It did work last night. I did have to drive 45 minutes one way to get to the store. Gas prices are going up, so now instead of that was the thing I was balancing out in my mind, but I'm just gonna go for it this week and just see how it goes.
I love it.
Yeah. Thanks, guy.
So before I go hang out with my daughter, somebody had asked about what show I was talking about with the coffee shop, and it was Undercover Billionaire that was recommended from Tech and Sports. And this lady had a coffee shop that also sold alcohol, and it also sold t-shirts, and it also sold baked goods, and she was a miserable failure. And because she sold alcohol, she couldn't open her coffee shop until 10 a.m. and she didn't see that as a problem. Like, she missed the entire morning crowd from 6. Like, Glenn Stearns went in and he's like, get rid of the liquor license. Like, the first day there was like 200 cups of coffee sold between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. just from that one thing. Like, I can't believe she was like, I'll just open my coffee shop at 10 in the morning. It was so, when they were interviewing customers, they're like, yeah, I see that place all the time, but it's never open. I couldn't believe it. It was so unbelievable. But that's like, she had an everything coffee store. And then after that show, I logged in. I looked her up on Instagram and her website. She's still doing that. She's still selling beanies and stuff that's totally unrelated to her coffee shop. She's still doing that. She's still stuck in the adding. But she would be hugely profitable if she just sold 25-cent cost of goods coffee for $4 every day. Why can't she do that? How come she has to add alcohol? It makes no sense. So she has this huge outdoor patio for like live concerts that has nothing to do with coffee. So that's how I feel like with the everything seller. But again, not saying they're bad. I'm just saying, if you want to be a coffee shop, it's much easier than being a coffee shop / rodeo, swing dancing club on the weekend. That's just really hard to put those two things together. You can. There's somebody out there has a nightclub coffee shop. It's just confusing to me. Anyway, everyone have a wonderful day. The podcast recording today is at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So for everyone that's new to the Patreon, on the first Wednesday of each month, there's coaching for everyone, every tier. So if you're on YouTube right now and you want to join, for $5, you get unlimited coaching on the first Wednesday of each month, which is today. So please, if you open a coffee shop, open at 5 or 6 a.m. so that you can get all those customers going to work. It makes me so sad that she opened at 10. So funny. Password change is Friday after Jack's call to give everybody the weekend to update their credit card and give the weekend to try out your Zoom before the call next week. But appreciate everyone. See you guys next time.